If you're thinking about moving to Boise, Idaho, you've heard the hype. Maybe you're wondering if it's all sunshine and river trails or if there's more to the story. I'm going to try to answer those big questions you probably have so that by the end you'll feel as informed as possible before making that decision and the big move. When we talk about moving to Boise, price is usually the first question. So let's break down what homes are actually selling for in 2025. So in Ada County, the overall median home sales price is $550,000. Within the county, you'll see some big differences though. Boise sits right around $540,000, which is close to the county average. Meridian is just a little lower at $535,000, making it a popular choice for families looking for newer neighborhoods, newer schools. Eagle is where you'll see the luxury lifestyle reflected in the numbers. The median home sales price is $870,000, which is almost $350,000 more than Boise. That's not to say there isn't luxury presence in Boise, but it's a numbers game. Less homes in Eagle and a higher concentration of higher priced homes within that one zip code. And if you go just a bit farther west, Star comes in higher than the county average as well, with a median price at nearly $600,000. Crazy considering just 10 years ago, it felt like there wasn't much there but open space. Now, if we look at Canyon County, prices are way more affordable, which makes it a strong contender for those wanting to stretch their budget. The county median is $429,000. Nampa, one of the fastest growing cities in the country, is around $435,000, where Caldwell is even more budget friendly at around $400,000. But then if you travel a little bit farther north to Middleton, which sits just next to Ada County's Star, then you're up around $570,000 in median home sales price. Now, just for perspective, if you're thinking about a second home or vacation property, say up in Valley County, that's McCall, Donnelly, Cascade, you'll see a big jump. That county median's home price is $790,000, with Donnelly actually pushing the envelope closer to $950,000 in median sales price. But that's really a resort style, lifestyle driven market because you're close to the lake and the mountains. So really, whether the Greater Treasure Valley is the right move for you depends on your budget and lifestyle. You've got options that range from the low 400s in places like Nampa and Caldwell to the 500s in Boise and Meridian, all the way up to the high 800s in Eagle, or vacation home pricing in Valley County. Now, I just happen to be in San Diego right now at a conference, and in comparison, even with Idaho's home appreciation jumping nearly 250% in the past 20 years, comparatively to the pricing I see around here, anywhere in California for that matter, Idaho seems like a bargain. I get calls from families each week asking me where the best place to live in Boise is. And I usually answer their question with another question. What kind of lifestyle do you want for your family? Because Boise, or rather the Treasure Valley, has family-friendly neighborhoods in droves. Each city brings its own flavor. And for this particular discussion, I'm going to focus on Ada County, especially Boise, Meridian, and Eagle. So if you like walkability, access to parks, and that historic neighborhood charm, the north end of Boise is going to be your place. Camelback Park is right there. It's a local favorite with a big playground and tennis courts and trails that lead straight into the foothills. Plus you're minutes from Ann Morrison Park or Julia Davis Park, where kids can not only play, but also enjoy things like paddle boats and even a trip to the zoo. The north end is older for sure. Think historical homes, but it's more established and very community oriented. Keep in mind though, the homes here tend to be smaller and priced higher because of demand. Now, if you're looking for newer schools and newer homes and lots of master plan communities, Meridian is often where families land. One of the highlights here is Discovery Park. This is a massive 77-acre park with splash pads and sand and water play areas and climbing walls. It's designed for kids to explore, and it's just one of the examples of how Meridian has leaned into building spaces specifically with families in mind. Safety, newer infrastructure, and plenty of shopping and dining options make Meridian a really practical choice for families. And then there's Eagle. Eagle is where you'll find luxury homes, larger lots, and quieter neighborhoods that still are very family focused. It's a little less bustling than Meridian, but you're close to top-rated schools and outdoor recreation like the Eagle Bike Park or Eagle Island State Park. Families here often like the balance of space and safety and that slower pace while still being close enough, like only 11 miles away, to Boise for work or entertainment. So really the best neighborhood depends on your priorities. Do you want the charm and lifestyle of Boise's north end, or the convenience and amenities of Meridian, or the space and prestige of Eagle? Eagle. The good news is all three offer great options for families with parks and schools and community woven into daily life. If you're new to my channel, hi, I'm Erica Toffel, Global Real Estate Advisor with Group 1 Sotheby's International Realty. I help you relocate and find the right fit in Boise and the surrounding Treasure Valley cities. If you have any real estate needs, please call or text or email. My information is on the screen, or scan the QR code on your television screen to contact me directly. And please be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you get notified every time I drop a new video, or reach out to me on Instagram where I post daily content. My handle is @Erica Toffel Real Estate. If you are moving, what if you don't want to buy right away? What if you want to just test the water? You want to see if there's really a good deal. Renting in Boise typically runs between $1,500 and $3,000 a month, depending on whether you're in an apartment or looking for a single family home. And honestly, with interest rates where they are, that's often lower than what you pay if you were to buy right now. On the buying side, the median home price is hovering around $550,000, depending on the part of the Treasure Valley that you're looking at. So with interest rates in the 6 to 7% range, a monthly mortgage payment could easily come in between $2,800 and $3,500 once you add in taxes and insurance, or if you add them in. So at a first glance, renting might feel like the cheaper, safer option. But here's the catch. Of course, you knew I had to mention it. I am a real estate advisor after all. When you're renting, that money is gone every month. You're not building equity, and you're also subject to rent increases, which we've seen here in Boise, especially after 2020 when the rental demand spiked. Buying, on the other hand, has higher upfront costs like your down payment and your closing fees, but you're building something for yourself. Boise has seen strong long-term appreciation, like I mentioned before, even with the recent market adjustments. So a good rule of thumb, if you think you'll be here for 5 to 7 years or longer, buying usually starts to make more sense financially. That's when the equity you build and the stability of owning typically outweigh the short-term savings of renting. So the real question is, how long do you see yourself in Boise, and do you want flexibility, or are you ready to put down root? Then buying might be the best option. Now, right now in Ada County, homes are taking about 40 days to sell. We've got around 2,200 homes on the market and about a 3-month supply of inventory. That's not crazy frenzy we saw during the pandemic when houses were gone in a weekend, but it's also not a sleepy market either. So if you're a buyer, this is actually good news. You've got more time to look, more choices, and you're not competing 15 other offers on the same house. But if a home is priced right and it looks great, it can still move quickly, and sometimes you'll see multiple offers. Just putting this out there so you understand, it's a Murphy's Law thing. If you've been watching a home on the market for 45 days and then you finally decide to write an offer, it will inevitably get another offer at the same time. Not sure why this happens, but just don't be surprised when it does. Like I said, it's Murphy's Law. Now, for sellers, this is a reminder that pricing matters more now than ever. If your home shows well and you price it strategically, buyers are still out there and ready to jump. If you price based on what you feel you could have gotten at the height of the market and your home isn't updated, expect it to sit for a while. It's just how it is. The bottom line is the Boise market in 2025 is competitive, but in a more balanced, thoughtful way. It's less of a sprint and more of a steady pace. One of the most common questions I get, what should I know before moving from another state to Idaho? Well, first, let's talk about lifestyle shift. If you look at California, it's fast-paced, there's lots of traffic, there's long commutes and crowded everything. Idaho moves at a different rhythm. Things feel more relaxed here, and people really value community. Don't be surprised if your neighbors wave when you drive by, or if strangers strike up a conversation at the coffee shop or the grocery store line. Just today, I was talking to a colleague who has lived his entire life in Southern California, and he is considering a move somewhere else to be closer to grandkids. And he said, I am just over the grind. And that right there is the difference. In California, every day can feel like a grind. In Idaho, it's more vacation paced. Now, the cost of living, of course, is a big driver. Housing is typically more affordable in Idaho than in many California markets, though prices have risen in recent years, as I've talked about throughout this video. So to say it again, as of 2025, the median home price in Boise is around $550,000, which might still feel like a deal compared to the Bay Area or coastal California. Property taxes are lower and state income taxes hover around 6%, and we have a 6% sales tax, and groceries are taxed, utilities and insurance are less. So ultimately, we're more affordable than California, but our wages can also be less as well. So you may not make as much, but you shouldn't have to spend as much either. Now, weather is another big shift. In California, although right now it's raining, you might be used to sunshine year round. In Boise, Boise, you'll get all 4 seasons. Summers are hot, winters bring snow, though not as heavy as some mountain towns, and spring and fall are beautiful. You'll want a good snow shovel for sure, and maybe even a winter coat that actually works, but my kids go to school in tennis shoes year-round. Then there's the cultural piece. Idaho tends to be more conservative, with a strong emphasis on outdoor recreation and family activities and local community events. If you love hiking and biking and skiing or floating the river in the summer, you'll fit right in. But if you're used to a 24/7 big city lifestyle, it might take some adjusting. Finally, remember this. Idahoans are proud of their state. If you're moving from anywhere, you'll hear the jokes, especially those around the reputation of Californians. But the best way to ease in, be open, be neighborly, and show you're here to contribute to the community, not change it. So yes, moving to Idaho can mean big changes, but if you're looking for a slower pace, strong sense of community, and access to amazing outdoor living, Boise might be the right fit. Okay, I'm going to try to wrap this up because it is starting to rain harder. But when people ask me what it's really like living in Boise, I always say it's a mix of incredible pros and a few cons you should know about. So let's start with the positives. Boise is an outdoor lover's dream. We've got foothills for hiking and biking, and the Boise River for floating in the summer, and ski resorts just a short drive away. You can truly live that 4-season active lifestyle. Another big pro is safety and community. When we first moved to Boise, I remember my kids biking around the neighborhood late at night, and I didn't have that constant sense of worry. I just sent them out on their way. People look out for each other, and that smaller town feel is still very real even as the city grows. Now, speaking of growth, Boise has so many opportunities, whether it's starting a business or investing in real estate. The Treasure Valley continues to expand in ways that open doors for families and professionals alike. Now, on the flip side, there are a few challenges. One is traffic growth. If you lived in big California cities, Boise traffic might feel light. But for longtime locals, the increase in congestion is notable, especially during rush hours. Then there's the cost of living. While Idaho used to be known as a bargain, rising home prices and everyday expenses are catching up. You still get more for your money than in California, but the affordability gap isn't as wide as it used to be. And then finally, there's job growth and opportunity in Idaho can be tough. Even in 2025, with more companies expanding into the Treasure Valley, we are only just starting to emerge on the business scene. So overall, the pros, we've got outdoor lifestyle, safety, and opportunities still outweigh the cons for many people. But it's worth weighing the trade-offs for yourself so you know what to expect if you decide to make Boise your home. Of course, I get asked all the time, is now a good time to buy a home in Boise? And here's the truth, there's never going to be a perfect time. When my family and I moved to Idaho, it probably wasn't the best timing on paper. My husband was still finishing his contract in California. We were juggling 2 states for a year, and life felt like chaos. But we knew Idaho was where we wanted to be in the long term, so we went for it. Was it perfect? No, but it was the right move for our family, and it's one we never regretted. Now, right now in 2025, the Boise market has definitely shifted. The days of runaway bidding wars have cooled, but interest rates are still in the 6 to 7% range. That means your monthly payment might feel higher than a few years ago. On the other side, you're not competing against a bunch of other buyers for the same house, and sellers are often more willing to negotiate. So it's a good time to buy. If you're trying to time the market down to the month or the quarter, you might always find reasons to wait. But if you know Boise is where you want to build your life, raise your family, or invest, then the best time is when you're ready to make that commitment. Ooh, it's starting to rain really hard now. So for us, it was about planting roots in the place we wanted to call home. And if that's where you're at, I'd say don't wait for the perfect moment because it rarely shows up on schedule. Just dive in and make the move. What else would you like to know about Boise, Idaho? Let me know in the comments. I love tailoring these videos to what you want to hear. If you're thinking of buying, selling, or investing in Idaho, you need a plan that matches the new market tempo. So for more info on the Boise market, check out one of the other videos on the screen. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Hopefully when it's not raining as hard.